That's not even math.
You made that a negative 5?
Yes, it's so math.
No, I can tell you math and matrices. That's six is a J.
I got all of that.
Oh, okay. Here, see if this is. So actually, 260 equals 266 and then door price. There you go.
So you have 12 inches right here?
Oh, this is your.
He's like, alright, he just moves too fast. So you have to take a Spanish teacher. So you only took a Spanish one?
There you go.
You know he's a Spanish teacher.
It was this one. He missed that much to it.
He isn't interested. But I feel like he just goes too fast because I feel like 3 classes ago, it's like, oh, I did it, and I'm like, yeah.
3 substitutes and not even talk
Okay. All right, guys. So you can finish up the corrections later, and we're gonna get back into some of our favorite stuff. Matrix. I'm gonna step back into the matrix. We have nobody on the side to request guns or anything from. Sorry. There are spoons. All that kind of shit. Get out of here. Just kind of remember how this works. You just set up the matrix. What would it look like here? Not a stream of green symbols. No. You're thinking about where we want to be. What does this guy look like right now?
1, -2,
Yeah.
-3.
1,
-2,
-2,
-3.
-3. Oh, you do it like that, Chuck. You want to be like that? Yeah. Okay. Now, technically, you could start with any column you want to, because we know. Now, Rune, you tell me, what's the goal?
0, 0.
No.
1, 0, 0. 0, 1, 0. 0, 0, 1.
Yeah. We're all becoming little computers.
1, 0, 0.
Why is that the goal? Because then what's the first row say? Considering what our variables are, what would the first row say? A equals number. Okay, that would mean I know what A is. I know what B is. I know what C is. So if I can make this piece look like that, I solved it. Bless you. The actual math we do is the same, even without a matrix. It's just the matrix makes it look different. It refocuses us. So what's really nice about that first column?
There's already a 1.
There's already a 1 there, right? Now there's already a 1 here also, so we could start with the middle column. Really doesn't matter, but the less comfortable you are, the more you should just start with, this guy. Yeah. So, let's see if we remember how this works. What am I trying to create in the matrix?
Order.
Zeros and ones. What am I trying to create?
Zeros and ones.
Zeros. Ones are nice, but zeros are my ultimate goal. Right? In fact, would I need a 1 to kill this 4? No, I could just multiply this row by -2 to kill the 4, right? I don't need a 1, but they're nice, because 1s can become anything. Right? Just all like agents. Right? And I can use them, this is kind of, I don't want to take it too far down. I can use them to kill other things easy. My main goal is to make zeros. Because what does that relate to in the real world? If I make a 0 here, I have just
Cancel.
killed a variable. Right? I like it. So how can I use that 1 to kill that 2? What would I do with this row? Well, multiply by who, what? Negative 2. So if I multiply row 1 by negative 2, add it to, of course, multiply this by negative 2, add it to row 2, put the answer where? Row 2, because I want the 0 to show up right there. I like it. So writing this keeps you straight. It also makes it sometimes possible for me to grade it. Right? If you don't write anything down and you make a mistake, I'm going to be like, I don't know what you did. I'm giving up. You're losing a lot of points. So, here's that shortcut I introduced before. I'm going to multiply row 1 by negative 2, but I only need to do that to kill him. So when he's dead, I don't need this row multiplied by negative 2 anymore. Right? I'd rather have a 1 there. So that's why this is something I made up on my own, is I just put next to it what it would be if I multiplied all of these by negative 2. It's one little shortcut, so I don't have to rewrite the matrix over and over and over. So there's negative 2 times row 1. I'm going to add it to row 2, and I'm going to put the answer in row 2. See if you're working today. Are you working? Yeah. So what do you get? Negative 2 plus 2?
0.
0. Yeah, what was the whole purpose? You get a 0 there. 4 minus 1? 6 minus 2. And negative 6 plus 4? Negative 2. I got more negative than positive, so I end up negative. Okay, so let's see. Can I do one more thing here? So why did I need these? Do I need these anymore? No, so screw it. Yeah. How do I kill this 4? Same way. You start to see how this makes it very, I say recipe-ish, but I could also say algorithmic. Oh shit. Find a 1, multiply it to kill other shit. Move on. Find a 1, multiply it to kill other shit. If you don't have a 1, is it the end of the world? No. Yes.
Where I get kind of confused is when you're going by the columns and then you multiply everything by the row.
So remember, I know where I want to end up. What do these represent? What do these all have in common back in the real world?
Oh, it's A.
They're all A's.
Okay.
So I can add these together and add these together because then they're like terms. So I can never do something between these two because that's A's and B's.
Okay.
So if you're thinking about why aren't we adding this way, because they ain't like terms. That's why.
Remember, it's like the same rules. It's just,
Yeah, same rules as equations.
Yeah.
it just looks different.
Yeah.
Totally, I like it. So everything you used to be able to do with equations, you can still do here. I can double both sides of an equation. I can move the equations around.
Yeah.
I can add two equations together. But now equations is replaced with rows. So what do I multiply this by now to kill him? Negative 4. So this will be, ooh, you're a good one. So now I can also do negative 4 row 1 plus row 3. Put the answer where?
3.
Row 3. That's where I want a 0 to show up. Yes, sir.
So you can just kind of bounce around, putting the answers wherever you want in the...
You could, technically, but you want to always put them where it makes the most sense.
Well, yeah, but so like now we're on to the 4, and we want to make the 4 a 0.
Yes.
So...
I'm going to overwrite this
Okay.
with a better equation.
Okay.
Why is it better? Less unknown shit.
Okay.
I like it. So, where are we at? So negative 4, this would become 8, 12, negative 12.
So the rules are like...
I just multiply everything by negative 4, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to add, why did I do that? So then when I add row 1 and row 3 together, I get that 0 here I want.
So the rules are like somewhat loose, like say you wanted to work on that top line first, or that top row first, then you would just rewrite your answer in that top row in the next page.
Yeah, sure. If there was a 1 somewhere else and you wanted to keep it, you could rewrite it in the, yeah, totally.
Okay.
But
It just depends on what row you're working on.
yes. Yeah, which row makes more sense to get rid of? I don't want to get rid of my first row ever for right now because
You got that one.
there's a 1 right
Until later when you want to work on the negatives.
there. Yeah. All right.
Wait, why do you have, how do you get 8 and 12 and negative 12?
What am I doing to row 1?
Times negative 5, negative 4.
So negative 4 times 1 is negative 4, negative 4 times negative 2 is 8, negative 4 times negative 3 is
Oh,
12.
okay.
Yeah, right.
I got kind of confused with that too because for a second I thought you were multiplying the second row at first, just because.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I
Yeah.
know. You don't have to shortcut this as much as I do. If you want to just do one of these at a time and rewrite the whole matrix and then keep going, don't cry to me about how long it's taking you. But if you need to do that to keep things straight, hell yes, right? The less comfortable you are with something, the more steps you should show yourself. So negative 4 and 4 is that 0 I want. 8 and 5 is 13. 12 and 6, 18. Negative 12 and 4. Negative. Detective Pikachu is out there. Let's see. 1, negative 2, negative 3. 3. Okay. So we just did the same thing twice. We used the first one to kill the other stuff below. You guys with me? Somebody can say, well, you did it twice and you did this one 4 times. I did the same thing twice. I used that one to kill those things one at a time. So now I am much closer to my goal. And now I can go to whichever column makes more sense. And I like this problem because is there any column that has a 1 in it?
Yes.
Where?
The first one.
That's the most useless one though, right? Because that one's already done its job. One of these other columns, is there a 1 somewhere? No.
You're gonna have to.
You never have to bring fractions in. You never have to. If you want to, do it. Do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
So like you could think, maybe I have to divide this by 3. So then there's a 1 there. But then don't you get fractions here? Right? So thankfully, that's why I wanted to make that point earlier. What's the most important thing in here? Making zeros. What's nice? 1s. But not necessary. Can I kill these together some other way? Can I kill them some other way?
Yes.
We've done this before. It's like LCD, remember? Now I'm going to do this next step. Let me see. Well, I'm going to talk about what this next step would look like, but then I want to show you a beautiful shortcut. Okay. Okay. I feel like I'm on a cooking show. It's a beautiful, nice brown on this lasagna. But now, so watch this. What does this equation say right now? Let me just do this on the side. It's just me adding some extra shit in here. What's this equation say? 4 what?
C
C.
equals 13B.
Somebody coming in on the chorus late. Now, real quick, if I just asked you, can you kill those bees? What would you do? Multiply this one by 13, and this one by negative 3. Do you see what I mean? Because they don't share anything, so the LCD would be each other. Oh. So I could multiply this row by negative 13, or positive 13, and this row by negative 3. One of them's got to be negative, so they'll kill each other. Would you rather do this a different way?
Yeah.
Okay. There's another way to make a 1 besides dividing. If I multiply this one by negative 4, this row, what ends up right there? And if I add it to this one, I get a 1. if you don't understand what I'm about to do, you can always do what you would normally do. Multiply this guy by negative 13, this guy by 3, add them together. The numbers might get a little big, but still, you can just brute force that sucker through. Yes?
If that doesn't, is it always going to be like that? Or?
Well, you could find it in a lot of situations. This one happened to be nice. You're right. It's easy to make these one apart.
Yeah.
But like if I want to kill these two, not quite as easy, right?
So if that's not there, then you have to do that, right?
Yeah, I can pick whichever column is easier to work with, and then I can do whichever thing I want to do. I really want you guys to understand. I could, I don't know, I don't want to do both ways. I can multiply this by negative 13, and I can multiply this by 3 and add them together. My numbers get a little bit big, but oh well, right? Or I can multiply this by negative 4, add it to row 3, put the answer in, doesn't really matter. Which numbers do you like least? Why don't you want to put it in row 1?
Because they already have a 1.
You don't want to lose your 1.
Oh, you want to put it in row 2?
You could. I'm going to put it in row 3 because I don't like those numbers. Alright, I like it. So the flexibility in this problem sometimes makes it hard to follow. Yes?
But don't you want that 1 in the middle column of row
Yeah,
2?
in which case I can just flip them around. You with me? I can just flip 2 rows.
Oh, okay.
Because I could have written this in a different order in the first place.
Yeah.
So I can always just switch 2 rows.
At any which point you like?
Any point you want to.
Okay.
So if there was a 1 here, very first thing I could do is switch the first and the last. So there's a 1 in the right place. Why am I allowed to do that? Because why did I give you these in this order? I don't know. Could I have given this to you last? Of course. Would that have changed the answer? No. Same stupid equations. So that's why you can switch any 2 rows anytime you want to. Just flip them. Do you guys see that?
I like it. So at the
Good.
end, if I didn't get a diagonal line of ones,
You can just
like, I
flip
just-
them around until you do. Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. So if I do negative 4 times row 2, that's 0, negative 12, negative 16, and 8. That's nifty. So then I get, let me leave 1 alone. One little 1 is just sitting there. 0 and 0 is 0. Negative 12 and 13 is that 1 I wanted. Negative 16 and 18 is 2. Get over there, 2. And then 8 minus 8 is 0. Neat. And the middle dude is just sitting here like, what the shit's going on? So that is one option. If you don't want to multiply both rows by kind of big numbers and put them together, you can try to figure out a way to make a 1 between 2 rows. Why would I never want to take this row and add it to one of these 2 rows? I would lose my 0. Right? If you ever do something that would make a 0 go away, don't do that. Because you did a lot of work to make a 0, why would you just let it go away? That's kind of silly. So now what can I do in this column?
Cancel out.
I can use this one. If I multiply this by negative 3, I can kill this dude. And watch. This is why I tell you go, what's up?
Why are we trying to kill that dude? Why are you trying to make that one if it's supposed to be 0?
I'm with you.
That's right.
Maybe right now I can do, why don't we take row 3 and switch it with row 2? Is that right? Right.
Again, then you already have your ones set up.
Again, what's that mean? Why was this equation second? Could it have been third instead?
Yes.
Okay.
So switching rows, and that's where part of your brain goes, well, why can we switch the whole damn thing and I can't do this other shit? Well, anything you can do with the equations, you can do with the rows, because the rows are equations. Yes.
So I could switch 2 and 3, like at the beginning, and then if it was easier now, I could just switch it back.
Totally.
Okay.
Because you're just reordering the equations. You're not changing the problem, you're just reorganizing the problem.
You just switch it like 20 times.
If you really felt it.
Okay.
Then you might have to
Over
be checked out. I don't know.
exaggerated answer.
A little OCD. And switch it. And switch it. All right, so let's see. Let me switch these around. So now I get the first row is just sitting there. Now I'm going to put this one's next. And then this one. Now how are we doing? So you got 1, 1. Cool.
Yeah.
And then that one can kill those two things. So we do this a little bit quickly. So the same way we did the first couple things we did, we're going to do the same thing in this one. I'm going to multiply this by what to kill him?
2.
2. So I'm going to do 2 row 2 plus row 1. Put the answer where? Top, row 1. That's where I want that 0 to show up. So if I do twice row 2, that's 0, 2, 4, 0. Again, this is one place where you start to kind of make your own way to do things. I know that sounds really weird, but this is nothing you'll ever see in a book. Maybe. I haven't seen it yet. This is something Jeff made up, and now I teach it this way. So you could figure out a kind of a way, I see people kind of like taking rows out and putting them on the side and then putting it back in. Whatever the hell makes sense. As long as you're doing things legally. So let's see, what do I get? Twice row 2 plus row 1. So I take 0 plus 1, did not screw with that 1. 2 minus 2 makes a 0, yay. 4 minus 3 is a 1, that's always kind of nice. 0 plus 3 is 3, sweet. What else can I use that 1 right there to do? Kill that 3, because I want a 0 down there, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's always a good idea to have this written somewhere, just so you can always kind of check how close am I. What do I need to do now?
Times row 2 by -3.
Beautiful. If I multiply row 2 by -3, add it to row 3, put the answer in row 3, because that's where I want the other 0 to show up. See, we're doing the exact same thing we did right here, aren't we? Everything I'm talking about right now is the same thing we were talking about just a minute ago. That's what's beautiful about this. Once you get this idea of multiply a row, add it to another row, you just keep doing that over and over and over and over. Go a little insane and come back. After some theorem. So let's see, -3 row 2. So 0, -3, let me cross these out because I don't need them anymore. -3, -6, 0. So multiply row 2 by -3. And I understand why some of you guys might not want to do this shortcut. Right? If I wrote any worse, I probably wouldn't want to. So it'd be really hard to see what the hell's going on. 0 plus 0 is 0. Why did I put that at the top? Oh yeah, that's at the top. That's good. 0 plus 0 is 0. -3 plus 3, 0. -6 plus 4, -2. 0 minus 2, -2. And in the middle is still this little dude. He hasn't changed because I used him twice to kill stuff around him. And what's really nice in that last row? Yeah, because it's, again, what does his last row say? -2 C equals -2. Just divide it by -2. And what will I have made then? I would have made a 1 right there. So this can become row 3 divided by -2. 1, 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 2, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1. So what's C?
Hold on,
Oh.
row 3 times -2?
Divided by.
Divided by.
Yeah. I know that looked great, but it didn't look like times. Divided by -2, so then I get... Now I know what C is. What's C? C is 1. If you cannot see that right now, you must let me know.
So A
Is this, what does it say? We don't know A worth shit, do we? What's this first row say? A
Plus C is
plus C
is 3.
is 3. And then this row says B plus 2 is 0. 2C, sorry. B plus 2C is 0. So what do I still need to do? What's not quite right yet?
2.
So now I can do this last column.
-2?
I can multiply this one by -2 to kill him.
Or the first one by -2 also.
No, because then that would make the 0 go away.
Oh, yeah.
And you just divide it by 2.
But then you make a fraction here. It's not really necessary.
Just kill the 2 first.
Notice that this is already -2's over here, right? So I could have just done this 0 plus 0. Let's see if I can stay with some time. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Negative 2 plus 0 is negative 2. So now I know what b is. And how do I kill this one? Multiply this one by, to kill this one right there.
Could you write what you just did to get to the bottom?
Yeah, I did negative 2 row 3 and added it to row 2. Put the answer in row 2. So negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Negative 2 plus 0 is negative 2.
Oh, you just undid.
Yeah, we already had it here. So we could have used this right off the bat, but I wasn't thinking that way. I like it. I'm not looking for an excuse or anything. It's just the way it is. How do I kill this guy? No. Again, how did I kill this guy? I used him. Didn't I use this guy to kill him? Why is this row right now the most powerful row?
There's 2 zeros.
2 zeros. It's like a laser to kill a tumor. Right? I'm not going to screw with anything over here. They're not going to mess with the zeros and the ones. Because these are zeros. That is just going to kill this. That's going to kill this if I multiply by the right thing. So what would I multiply this row by so that that would kill that? Negative 1. Can I just do this? Bam, bam. Is that all right? So then 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2. What's the answer?
A is 2.
A is negative 1.
A is 2.
B is
B is negative 2.
and C is 1.
C is 1. Or alternately, you could write 2, negative 2, 1.
It worked out this time.
Yes, because I took it from the book. Yay. So if you can get to the point where you really understand what I'm doing with these parenthesis dudes, you end up doing that process over and over again as you work your way through the columns.
You've done a 7 by 7 before?
Yes.
That 3 by 3 just took up a whole page.
I know. Yeah. That's why I made a lot of shortcuts. Yeah. What class was that? It was, you don't want to know. It was called relativistic electrodynamics. Yeah. It's like the speed of light and what does that do to charge and properties of particles. I don't get to talk about that very much, and I'm not going to. So
Thank you.
Matrices, by the way, how many guys use like Excel? Anybody ever seen Excel? Spreadsheets. Spreadsheets. Okay, so it uses matrix operations all the time. Has anybody ever like changed the contrast or the brightness of an image?
Yes.
Everybody. It uses it's called matrix transformations to affect that. Enhance an image on CSIS, like the fake shit they do, but the real shit that you can do. It uses matrices to kind of apply a matrix to something to make it enhanced, to smooth it out or whatever. Anyway, so there's a lot of places it's used, believe it or not. Okay, just a little preview of what we're going to get into. Guys, this is the end. Just a couple things we're done today. Is everybody all right? All right. Let me see what you guys already know. Well, actually, let me start with this. Guys, everybody in here. Okay. If I had this sitting somewhere, what's a better way to write this? 4x, I love it. So somewhere in history, somebody had to say, shit, I'm tired of writing that. Let me just say, 4 of these things, tell everybody about it, and everybody said, that sounds good. Because I was writing 80 freaking x plus x plus x. Now I can just write 80x. Thank you, sir. You with me? Or maybe it was a woman and this dude stole it, because that's the way it used to be. Right? Unfortunately, look at the history of math has got poisonings and shootings and duels and spies.
Really?
Holy shit, insane people. Right? Obviously. You get a little crazy to get into it, or it makes you crazy. So then there's this dude on the other side of the earth. He gets the news about that. He's like, shit, that's what I was going to do with this. So I can't put a 4 in front now. So where do I put the 4?
Make it tiny and put it.
Yeah, he said, let me put it there. No, it looks like a hat. That looks like division. There, sure. Now you guys probably never really thought about this, but there's nothing special about putting the 4 in there. We had to make it up, explain what it meant, and then everybody went about their business. You with me? The one guy in the back didn't like it. We shot him, kept going. Right? It's not too far off from some things. This basic definition leads to all the properties of exponents. So for example, does anybody know what this is?
X.
Yeah. Beautiful. Not 18 anywhere, right? Because what's this mean? 2 x's in a row linked with another 9 x's in a row is of course 11 frickin' x's in a row. There's no 9 times 2. In fact, I love to say this. I've said this before in this class, I think. There is no 9 or 2 anywhere in this statement. There isn't. And this student's like, oh, here's right. There's 2 x's and 9 x's. No 2 or 9. So putting an 18 makes no sense. So there's x to the 11th, because 2, 9 more, 11. So what about this? So what is this? This is a string of 8 x's with multiplication divided by 5 x's.
X to 30.
Yes. Yeah. Why do I have to use 8? 5 x cubed. Now, please, dear God, nobody do this shit. Nobody. Right? But that's what the idea is behind it. You had 8, you divided 5 away, so of course you got 3. So when I multiply like bases, I do what with the powers? Add them. When I divide like bases, I... So what's this? X to the 5m. You just add the exponents. When you have like bases multiplying, you add the powers. You didn't say, if the powers are a whole number. No, you just said add the freaking
So how
powers.
you want us to say it? To the
X to the 5m. To the? How would you say it otherwise?
Oh, no, that's
Okay, like how would you read this?
X to the.
There you go. All right, I like it.
X11.
X11.
Now, what, last thing for today. What the shit would this mean?
0.
No. So help me out. What would you write? Let me put an x squared down here. What would you write on top? Because what do you do with the powers when you divide like bases? Subtract them. So of course, what would have to be up here so I end up getting a 0 from the subtraction? Another 2. Well, what is something divided by itself? Okay, x to the 0 is 1.
I remember learning this one.
Also, real quick, another way to look at this, not really a proof. What's the only thing I multiply something by and it stays the same? The only number I can multiply by and it stays the same is 1. 0 makes everything 0. It doesn't let it stay the same, right? And what do you do? What's the rule here?
Add.
What's 0 plus 7?
7.
So what's this got to be? Since it let it stay the same, it's got to be 1. That's the only thing that can do that. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Except for 0. Don't worry about this. 0 to the 0 is freaky as all shit. We talk about it in Math 280. Don't worry about it here.
280? Those 2 zeros? It's so complex.
It's really weird.
Wow.
So don't worry about it. We're going to deal with the base is not 0. So anything to the 0 power is 1, except this thing that we'll never see in this class. That's plenty. I want to let us out a little early, which really means I want to let me out a little early.
I always complain with that.